Good morning. It's been a long time since we've gotten together, but I wanted to share something with you that the Lord has shown me within the last few weeks. Something that we've all known, but it's better when He shows us and He really reveals Himself to us. Sean and I have prayed a long time for some certain things. It didn't ever seem like they would ever change. It just seemed like it kept getting worse. But all of a sudden, things started making some changes. And it wasn't anything we were doing within ourselves. We weren't capable of making the change, but God showed us that He is. And He's the one that gets all the glory for it. It made me start thinking about some Bible stories, Old Testament Bible stories, David and Goliath. You have this little man going against this huge giant. What were the odds? Not very good, humanly speaking. But what did David say? I don't come to you with spears and swords. I come to you in the name of the Lord. And he had just one little rock that he had 5, we know. But one little rock hit him in the head. And he was able to conquer Goliath. Then you have the Hebrew children. What did they do? They stood for what was right. They chose to not worship the idol that was placed before them. They got thrown in a fiery furnace. The furnace was so hot that the men that were throwing them in died. But what happened to the 3 Hebrew boys? They walked around in there. And who was with them? Were they by themselves? No, there was a 4th person in there. Who was that? God Himself, Jesus. Okay? He wasn't in there by Himself. They weren't in there by themselves. They had help. They couldn't have done it by themselves. We can go on and on. Those are Old Testament stories. They're fantastic and we love them. But what about today? Does God still work like that today? I believe He does. The things that Sean and I have placed before the Lord multiple times were things that we have not been able to do by ourselves. He has helped us conquer different giants in our lives. He's taken us through some fiery places in our lives and places that we could not help ourselves. We needed His help. So I saw a challenge this week, and I got so focused on the challenge that I didn't even think of the way to resolve the problem. So sometimes in life, we get so focused on our problems that we forget we can call on God. We can ask Him. We get so wrapped up like Peter. Do you remember the story about Peter walking on the water? Have any of you ever walked on water? We tried growing up. I remember going to my sister-in-law's pool and we jump off into the pool, and as we're jumping in, we just wag our feet as fast as we could. And as soon as we hit the water, we sank. None of us ever walked on water unless it was frozen. But the water that Peter walked on was not frozen. Who was on the water with him? Christ. He was on the water with him. He told him to come. Peter was out on the water walking, but what did he get focused on? He got focused on the waves around him, and he got scared. Even though Jesus was right in front of him, he got scared. Don't we do the same thing? Don't we allow ourselves to look at the big troubles and waves around us? And Jesus is right there. And so when Peter sank, did Jesus just leave him there? No, He reached down and He pulled him up and He helped him. And they walked back to the boat together. So I want to talk today. I want to show you the challenge that I have for today. And it's a little pencil and it's a vase. And Keaton's going to help me with this. Keaton, I need you to get this pencil out of the vase without touching the vase at all. No. See, you touched it.
You can't do it without touching.
Are you sure you can't do it without touching? Nope. See, you're still touching. But see, even if he's touching it, he still can't reach it.
Yep.
Are you sure you can't think of any way to get that pencil up and out? No.
Move it over.
But if you did that, you'd have to
Touch the glass.
You'd have to touch the glass.
Yeah.
So, some of my scholars probably know how to get this pencil out. But I saw this challenge, and I'll be honest, I got focused on that pen being in that vase that I didn't even think of what the solution could be. But what happened is her husband said, if you'll get that out without touching it, I'll give you, and he said the amount of money, And she wanted that money. So she thought and thought and thought until she came up with a solution. But she could not do it by herself. She had to have some help. And let me show you how. If we can pretend like this is our life and the troubles that we have in our lives, we can't always fix them by ourselves. We have to have help. And this is how we do it, Keaton. If we fill up the space, if we fill it up, ta-da, I got the pencil out without touching the base. So, so I hope that you all are encouraged. I'm thankful for the technology that we have, that we can still meet together. But the thing I want you all to remember, no matter what, is that with God, all things are possible. Matthew 19:26 says so.